Come with me deep inside an old, forgotten clock tower, where the air hums with the slow, steady rhythm of time itself. Here, in this world of giant gears and colossal springs, lived a tiny character named Pixi. She was so small, no one in the bustling town below had ever seen her. You couldn't hear her, you couldn't spot her, but her work was the most important in the entire town. What was her job? Well, Pixi was the tiny timekeeper, day and night. Without a moment's rest, Pixi pushed the massive gears of the clock tower. With every heave and every shove, she ensured that the great hands of the clock continued their endless dance. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It was her push that made the seconds march into minutes, and the minutes into hours. She was the secret heartbeat of the town, a silent, tireless force. But her work was lonely. From her high perch, she could see the world unfolding below. She saw children playing in the park, families sharing meals, friends laughing together. They all lived their lives by the chiming of her clock, yet none of them knew she even existed. Sometimes, as she strained against a particularly heavy gear, a little sigh would escape her. "Does any of this even matter?" she'd whisper to the dust motes dancing in the slivers of moonlight. "Does anyone know I'm here?" The answer, she thought, was no. She was just a shadow among other shadows, a whisper in the wind. But still, she kept pushing. It was her purpose. It was her life. Then came the storm. It wasn't just any storm. It was a furious tempest that rattled the very foundations of the old tower. Wind howled like a hungry wolf, and rain lashed against the clock face. Suddenly, with a deafening crack of lightning, a powerful jolt shook the tower. The gears groaned, shuddered, and then silence. The ticking stopped. Down in the town square, people looked up in confusion. The giant clock hands were frozen. The comforting chime that marked the hour was gone. A wave of panic rippled through the streets. Without the clock, everything felt wrong, out of sync. The baker didn't know when to pull his bread from the oven. The train conductor didn't know when to blow his whistle. The entire town, which had always relied on the steady beat of the clock, was lost. Up in the tower, Pixi saw the chaos. Her heart ached for the people below. She scurried over the now still gears and found the problem. A small piece of debris, shaken loose by the storm, had jammed the main mechanism. It was wedged in tight. Pixi tried pushing it. She tried pulling it. It wouldn't budge. The gears were too heavy, the jam too severe. For a moment, she felt like giving up. She was too small, too weak. What could she possibly do? But then she looked down at the town again, at the worried faces looking up at her silent clock. She remembered her purpose. This was her clock. This was her town. Taking a deep breath, Pixi braced herself against the cold, unmoving metal. She gathered every ounce of strength she possessed, every bit of determination she had. With a mighty cry that was lost in the sound of the storm, she gave one final, colossal push. Asterisk click, asterisk, the tiny piece of debris popped free. The giant gears lurched, then slowly, majestically, began to turn again. Tick, tock. Tock. Tick, tock. A moment later, the deep, resonant bells chimed, their song rolling across the town like a warm hug. A massive cheer erupted from the crowd below. People hugged and laughed, relieved that their world was back in order. They praised the old clock, calling it strong and resilient, never knowing the true story. They never knew it was a tiny, unseen hero who had saved their time. From her place in the shadows, Pixi watched them celebrate. She didn't need their cheers. She didn't need them to know her name. Seeing the rhythm return to their lives was all the reward she needed. And as the first rays of dawn broke through the clouds, she simply smiled and went back to her work, pushing the gears, keeping the world moving. Thank you so much for joining me for this little story today. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more tales like this, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.